Hey guys, what's going on? MJ Madness here, and to celebrate the last day of 2016, I thought I would count down my 10 best moments in sports of this past year. So I'm going to be starting at number 10 and counting up to number 1, which will be my most memorable moment. I'm looking all over the world at all different types of sports, and it really should be a lot of fun to just look back at this great year we've had for the world of sports. So without further ado, let's get into the list. Coming in at number 10, I'm going with Villanova basketball winning March Madness and becoming the national champions. They made an improbable run to the title, and then in the championship game against the University of North Carolina, you may or may not remember, Chris Jenkins hit a buzzer beater with no time on the clock, a crazy three-point shot, to win the national championship for Villanova. This was one of the all-time classic final games of March Madness. It was really amazing when he hit that final shot, something that will definitely go down in history and definitely deserves to be number 10 on this list. Coming in at number 9 and moving over to the NHL, I am going with the Pittsburgh Penguins defeating the San Jose Sharks in 6 games to win the Stanley Cup. Now, going into the playoffs, many people didn't see the Penguins as a legitimate cup contender, but they were able to upset the number 1 seeded Washington Capitals on their way to the final and then beat the San Jose Sharks to really cement their legacy as one of the best teams in the NHL and also really prove that Sidney Crosby definitely will go down as one of the greatest players in the NHL. You may remember he has won the cup before back in 2008, but that was when he was a rookie and definitely not really carrying the team completely on his back, but this year he really did it all and showed that he is one of the best players to ever play the game and that the Penguins are really a great team. At number 8, we are going with the Golden State Warriors breaking the NBA all-time single-season wins record, where they were able to get 73 wins and 9 losses, cementing that record on the last day of the season when they beat the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, going into the season, the record was 72-10, held by Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls back in 1996, but the Golden State Warriors were able to smash that record with a team led by Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson, and they will go down in history as the best NBA regular season team ever, with really an amazing run where they were able to go 24 games undefeated to start the season and dominated the play leading into the playoffs. Now, coming in at number 7, I'm going with Nate Diaz shockingly silencing Connor McGregor at UFC 207. Now, this past year in fighting, there's been some really great stories, the rise and fall of Ronda Rousey, some really great fights, but I think there were no bigger moments than Nate Diaz shockingly upsetting Connor McGregor. Now, Connor McGregor, no doubt, will go down as one of the greatest fighters of all time, and Nate Diaz, who wasn't even scheduled to fight against Connor McGregor until weeks before, came in as a 6-1 underdog and somehow was able to upset one of the greatest fighters ever. It was really a true underdog story, an absolutely amazing match, and definitely something that will go down in history. At number 5, I am going with the success of the 2016 Rio Summer Olympic Games. Now, coming into the games, a lot of people had concerns. Things didn't really seem to be that organized, but by the end, things went really, really well. We had some really amazing stories from Usain Bolt to Michael Phelps, and overall, it was a really entertaining games and something really great for the city and for the entire world. At number 4, I am going with Leicester City winning the Premier League in English soccer. Now, going into the season, Leicester City were perhaps the ultimate underdogs. Most people predicted them to be battling for relegation. In fact, their odds of winning the title coming in were 5,000-1. Yet somehow, when teams like Chelsea, Man City, Man United, and Arsenal were slipped up and didn't perform to expectations, Leicester City were able to come in and shock the entire world and somehow win the Premier League. This was a team that had only been moved up to the first division of English football 2 years ago, and with a budget so much less than some of the great giants of English football, nobody saw this coming. And yet Leicester City was able to do it, upset everybody, and go down as perhaps the biggest underdog moment in all of sports in 2016. Leicester City will go down in the history books, and they definitely deserve their spot on this list. At number 3, I'm going with Saying Goodbye. So I'm sort of cheating a little bit, but basically I'm going to be looking at some of the biggest retiring players we saw in 2016. In 2016, we saw a lot of legends leave the game in different sports all around the world. It was really disappointing to see some of these great players go, but they've definitely left some legacies behind. In football, we had Peyton Manning, arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time, as well as Marshawn Lynch, one of the best running backs of all time, retire. Basketball had many big names retire. Kobe Bryant, probably the biggest. He dropped 60 points in his last game, but also Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett. In baseball, we lost David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez, and Michael Phelps as well, one of the best swimmers of all time we have ever seen. So overall, definitely disappointing if you're a fan of the sports world to see all these great players retire in 2016, but they definitely have left a legacy on the entire world of sports and made their mark for sure. At number 2, I gotta go with the Cleveland Cavaliers winning the NBA title against the Golden State Warriors, who, as I mentioned earlier, were the greatest regular season team of all time, winning 73 games and losing only 9. The Cleveland Cavaliers were definitely underdogs going into the series. The Warriors had 3 of the best players in the NBA, in Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and quickly they jumped out to a 3-1 lead in the series, and it looked all but over. But then, LeBron James, the greatest player in the NBA, stepped up and dragged the Cleveland Cavaliers back into the series. Then, he blocked Andre Iguodala with a minute left, and Kyrie Irving hit the game-winning shot in Game 7, playing in the Golden State Warriors Oracle Arena to win the title for the Cleveland Cavaliers and cement LeBron James as the greatest current player in the NBA. It was truly improbable how they came back from 3-1 against such an amazing team, and really probably the most exciting finals series I've watched in the NBA in many years. It was really amazing the run they were able to go on, and after dominating the first couple of rounds, they ran into some trouble with the Raptors, and then finally, when it looked like things were over, they stepped up and were able to get it done against the Warriors, for LeBron to win his 3rd NBA title. Definitely a great story, and they definitely were one of the biggest moments we saw in sports in 2016. And the number 1 best moment in sports of all of 2016, the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series. Now, why is this the best moment in sports? Well, the Chicago Cubs, over their history, have been one of the most maligned and cursed franchises in all of Major League Baseball. Going into this season, they had the longest championship drought in sports history, a whopping 108 years. They have suffered so many failures and defeats, coming just short a multitude of times, which is why it was so amazing to see them finally break the curse and win the World Series. And what made it even better was the fashion in which they won. It was one of the most exciting series I've ever seen in the finals. It came down to Game 7, tied 8-8. At the bottom of the 9th inning, which meant it went to extra innings. And then in extra innings, overtime of baseball, the Cubs were able to get it done and beat the Cleveland Indians by 1 run in Game 7 to end their drought and win the World Series. Now, the Cubs breaking their curse in such an amazing way is why that was the most exciting and overall memorable moment in all of sports in 2016. So now I want to hear from you guys. Let me know if you think I've forgotten any moments, some amazing things that I may have missed, and also give me your list of the top 10 moments in sports. Maybe you had things in a different order. Maybe I ranked something too low or too high. So let me know, because I love hearing from you guys and seeing your opinions on my list and stuff like that. And if you want to see more videos counting down some great moments in sports, maybe another one next year, more top 10s, stuff like that, then be sure to hit that like button and I'll know you guys want to see me keep them coming. So that's it for me. Thank you guys all so much for watching. It's been a great year here on MJ Madness, and I look forward to an even better 2017. Thank you, and see you next time.